I mean, this is a reality. So our governments, presumably, that somebody made the order for these people to come because of Brexit, right? It's like they can't come, through the normal channels, so they're going to come through the abnormal channels,
Yeah.
and they're not being honest with us, because, and even these leaders of these anti-immigration political parties, they won't say, look, it's your fault. You're not, there's not enough of us to join the labor force. Um, that there are no stable marriages, not enough stable marriages, and children growing up in stable families, and education is crap, and they don't learn anything, even if they stay the course at school. And the thing is, because these supporters of these anti-immigration parties are invariably
Hello.
the bachelors. Most of them are bachelors.
Yeah. So we have a
They're
guest.
not
Sorry, Claire.
interested.
Before I start the conversation, welcome. Was it Khalid?
Khalid.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to come back because I need to do something. But is it okay if you two have a conversation? Just continue on. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm only
yes.
here for about 10,
We,
15
we we
minutes.
know each other's shtick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Claire. This is Khalid, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I know him from Speaker's Corner.
Okay. I'm gonna mute up. So continue on the conversation.
Cool. Thanks.
Yes.
Sure.
How are
So
you, Khalid?
I'm all right. How are you?
What have you been doing
so
today?
teaching and figuring out how to get my second wife. I've wrote a letter to talk to the dad of some 18-year-old. We'll see how that goes. He didn't speak English, so that'll be interesting. But anyway, what's the main topic? Is Britain racist?
What do you think?
I think London is probably different to a lot of places. I can't speak for the rest of Britain, but in London, I think people are racist against white people
Oh, yes,
because
it's.
brown people get all the jobs and white people like hate themselves. Like they keep saying like how they've colonized all these other countries and they're terrible people. And I sometimes think, oh, they're a bit harsh on themselves. I mean, they didn't do the colonizing themselves, but So yeah,
Mhm.
white people don't seem to like themselves. They don't even seem to like their own faces for some reason. Like they don't show their faces on webcams and stuff and whatever. Yeah,
Mhm.
so
Yes,
pretty
I mean,
interesting.
the government is showing that they don't like them.
It's practical. It's just economics, isn't it? Like uh, if they're suicidal, depressed, and all this kind of stuff, don't have any direction in their life, they're not going to be very good employees. Um, they're not going to do a very good job. And so, like, I'm in a tutoring agency, whatever. And if I go to a meeting, everybody's brown, basically, all Muslims, like all the teachers and stuff. Like, you don't get any white
Mhm.
ones. Like, white people could do the job, but they don't. Um, so yeah, it's just economics, really. If you're not happy, then you're not going to be very good. You're not going to be a very good employee. Nobody wants you. I remember teaching some kid whose dad runs a construction company, and he says, "I don't employ." He's a white person, white English person, and he doesn't employ white English people because they're too lazy. They're just on Facebook or something all the time. But they will employ white South Africans, maybe Polish people, because they're just hardworking immigrants. Do you know what I mean? Like my
Mhm.
agency is run by white South Africans, but it seems a lot of the employees are brown Muslims, basically.
Mhm.
So
And
yeah,
and and the tuition is in the STEM subjects, right?
it could be anything. But it seems even the non-STEM subjects are taken by brown people. So
Mhm.
and mostly men, I would say as well. Men are just more efficient at doing the job. They're just less moody. There was one lady who said, "I don't want to do this job." She's a brown lady, but it's like, "I don't want to do it because a girl doesn't turn up." Like, You get the money. Just stop complaining. You know what I mean? But just women are
Mhm.
moody as well. But they
Mhm.
will do crappy jobs. Women do crappy jobs for some reason. Where like they work in schools where they're treated like crap. But anyway, we're kind of changing the subject, but kind of like, so is Britain racist? I don't know. I mean, what do you think outside London? Have you seen much outside London? What happened?
Um, well, I mean, I know people can be racist, even in London,
Hmm.
but I think I guess they're less racist in London because London is a now non-white majority city. So the whites know they're outnumbered. So I guess that would stop them from being too racist. I mean, people might be racist if it's like you're the odd one out. You're clearly the odd one out. They are the
Hmm.
majority, and you're just one person. And of course, they'll um, you know do
Yeah, I mean,
what
London used to
what they
be
think they
only
can
like,
get away with.
I think when I was between, I don't know, about 20, 25, maybe 30 years ago, London was really racist. Like, it would be normal for a window to be smashed and you'd be called a packy and you get beaten up and somebody would hit you or something. My dad's generation would be way worse. They'd literally have packy bashers, gangs. You know what I mean? You probably heard of that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
That was normal then. You'd be chased in the streets. But I mean, normal.
Hmm.
And when I was growing up, it was like, oh, you get your window smashed maybe in a slightly harsh, rough area, or go to the park, you get called a packy. But now it's completely changed. Like in the same area, I remember where my auntie had her window smashed. I lived there before I moved here to Jordan, and so everybody's packy there now. Everybody's Pakistani. And all the white people are kind of either minorities or too depressed and stuck in their homes and didn't know how to, connect, poor things. And we would run, all the Pakistanis would run, street parties and invite the white people so they feel connected. So in England, it's really strange. It's kind of the other way around now.
Hmm. But I mean, can the non-white people of this country be racist against each other? I think it's perfectly possible, isn't it?
Oh no, yeah, no. I mean, other countries are very racist. It's normal to be racist in like countries like here or wherever. Like in Pakistan, if you're fair-faced, you're valued higher. It's normal. If you're darker,
Hmm.
it's just racism is more normal. No, it's more accepted. Like you've got adverts and Pakistani TV and how to whiten your face. Do you know that kind of stuff? Like my
Yeah, I
auntie
know the
typically
Africans do
try
that
to whiten
too.
their face. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So they don't
Yeah.
have the same sort of issue with that kind of. They're racist by default. They don't feel bad about it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, basically, even within the same race, within the same family, within the same community, there's bound to be somebody they pick on. And we can say, oh, it's racist or sexist or whatever, but, there will be people, particularly at school, even if you're all the same race or same class or whatever, somebody's going to get picked on because there's something odd about them that will attract the attention of the bully. Wouldn't you
Mm.
say, when you were at school?
Even when I
Maybe
was
you
at
you
school, we
you
had a
you wore
lot of.
glasses or was a
Sorry,
bit
no,
odd
what?
or fat or whatever.
Okay, so I got bullied by people who are my friends now, other Ahmadi Muslims. It's really funny. Um, by the brown people basically. So it wasn't really that I was different. I was just smaller and people. So bullying was more normal. Like being racist and like when I was small, we would tell Irish jokes. I remember like our religious teacher, like the Khalifa, who the Khalifa is. He was telling us you should not tell jokes about Irish people, and I was like, why? What's wrong with that? Irish people? I didn't even know Irish people at the time because it was just like an idea. Um, so being racist and being rude and bullying people was just normal in those days, I suppose. I don't know. Did you think it was more normal when you were younger?
Yeah, people were quite rude. I remember. Did you ever read Mad magazine?
Which one? Mad.
Mad magazine is an American magazine. Anyway, it's
Yeah,
sort
I
of like a
know. I remember it from somewhere.
yeah, and I just still remember this particular issue where they were being mean about stupid Polacks, and I thought that's really
Poland.
rude. Meaning Poles, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember like all the jokes that I knew were racist jokes when I was small, and we thought it was hilarious. That's what I knew. Like Ethiopians, like you remember the Ethiopian, what was it called when they were starving? So like all we knew was just like racist jokes. I couldn't repeat the jokes; it would be banned on here. Like, but that's all we knew. So yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this reminded me of this daughter of a friend of mine, and she was having this conversation with her parents, and obviously they were making some kind of bargain, but obviously as a child she hated her parents calling her stupid, and she wanted to ban her parents from saying the word stupid. And I thought, it's like people think, no, you can't say the N word, you can't say the P word, you can't say the, whatever offensive word that you want to ban. And for this child, she wanted to ban her parents from calling her stupid because it was very
It's
offensive,
interesting.
obviously.
I think so people are underdeveloped nowadays in terms of social ability. So they think you can ban people from saying other things because that's what they do on YouTube. You just click a button and you're banned or commented or whatever, or this kind of, like, you can ban people from your channel really easy just by pressing a button, and then therefore you're no longer talking to anybody who disagrees with you. So basically, I think Jordan Peterson said most people have developed to the age of 2, because up to the age of 2, people just have to agree with you, isn't it? When you're a baby, when you're 6 months, you can't debate a baby. The baby cries, you do what the baby tells you to do, and that kind of continues until 2. But after 2, you're supposed to be more grown up and be able to communicate with people who disagree with you. Don't get upset, don't start crying, don't start getting angry and stuff. Just like be a grown up and communicate, and it's not a big deal if somebody disagrees with you. But yeah, people can't
you can sort of try and get them to behave better, like saying, no, you can't begin a sentence saying I want, because children get to a stage where I want, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't say that. You have to find another way of making your wishes clear.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the comments and maybe some interesting ideas there. So one is, well, you said something. So okay, there's 2 things that kind of connect. Somebody said something like people who white people take so urban analysis says British people take for granted what migrants appreciate, right? So that's natural. Even like I moved to Jordan, so people wondering why my background's like this. I moved to the Middle East in Jordan. I love the place, right? So I might appreciate loads of things that Jordanians don't appreciate. It's that if you go to another country, you do grow a sort of work ethic that other people don't have. And you learn also from other cultures and stuff. So there's something about traveling that's really powerful. So, and it's quite natural. Like even like my generation probably take loads for granted. My generation, as in I'm like 2nd generation British or whatever you want to call it, right? Second generation immigrant, I should say, right? Because my dad immigrated to whatever in England 1950s, right? So the point is that it's just natural. You become soft when you stay in the same country. You take things for granted. It's also natural that when you become richer, you become soft as well. So it's kind of a cycle. You become soft. What do they say about like strong men? I don't know. There's a whole saying, isn't it? Strong men create strong countries and stuff like that, and weak men.
Yes, create good times. Good times create
Yeah.
weak men. Weak men create bad times. I believe that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So it's a cycle, and it's quite difficult to stay out of that cycle. Yeah, there's ways, but you really have to keep developing yourself. And I would say religion really helps with that, like constantly being grateful, don't overeat, don't be selfish, be generous to other people. So you actually make use of the wealth that you've gained. But if you're selfish, you just become self-involved, destroy yourself and stuff. But anyway, so urban analysis said something about, is Brits, or, indigenous Brits, I imagine he's saying, take for granted things. I think just immigrants, you go to any country, you stop taking things for granted. But also, like you said earlier on, like if you stand out, I think it's if you go to, I actually recommend people going to places where they stand up. You can really take advantage of those places. Like I'm the only Brit in my village. I'm the only Brit around. Okay, so you stand out and you get more jobs. Like, oh, I like your accent. I'm going to employ you. Yeah. So, or in terms of dating as well, or finding someone to marry. Like, oh, you're a Brit. Oh, you're 10 times more attractive just because you're the only Brit in the village or something. But if you're if you're a Brit in London, that's normal. There's nothing special about you that kind of that makes you, stand out in a positive way either. So, yeah.
Yes, and I think we should cultivate the ability to see an opportunity that, you know, and be able to think flexibly. But on the question of religion, I think, a lot of people now, overwhelmingly, people in the West are atheist, and I think it creates a mindset of them being unable to um, learn quickly because they have such an attitude problem about, admitting their mistakes.
Yeah, you become very brittle. If you're not religious, life is just incredibly difficult because you don't have any direction, don't have any rules. You're trying to work out everything from scratch, which is impossible. Like all the rules, how to live life. Whereas people don't realize if you're a Muslim, for example, those rules really work. They've worked for over 1,000 years, really successfully. So you're just like working on those rules, life becomes really easy. So if your life is incredibly difficult, and nobody wants to look stupid. So when you're not religious, your life is incredibly difficult, and you look stupid all the time and you feel stupid all the time, therefore you become brittle, and then you don't want to admit that you feel stupid all the time. Because why would you feel stupid? Because you're not getting married, you're single, all your relationships are not working out, you're going to feel crap about yourself. So then you're going to try to protect yourself and keep pretending you're right when you're wrong instead of fixing it. But as a Muslim, say for example, let's say you're right, your life's going quite well 99% of the time. Sometimes it messes. Well, let me put it this way: you're all okay. It's easier to admit your mistakes when your life's relatively easy and you've got direction, and actually those directions are, as a Muslim, I'm always working on mistakes, but the mistakes are relatively small, kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I'm constantly, as a Muslim, you're constantly being told, there's something called taqwa we were talking about before, and the details of the meaning of the word taqwa is to always, it's not just God consciousness, as you said, but did you see the description I sent you the other day? It's kind of like constantly being aware of the tiny things that you're doing wrong, right? So if you're fixing tiny things, that builds up to fixing big things over time, and that's easier to solve. It's easier to solve tiny things than big things when they become too big to deal with, kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yes. So obviously, you should solve problems when they're small instead of waiting
Yes.
with them to grow big. And but my point about atheism is that if we don't believe in God, then our ego is our God, and then we will be very protective of our ego, and not be at all keen to admit mistakes. But if we kind of accept that, oh, we're just a creature, we're a creation of God, and blah blah blah, and we take a more humble position, then correcting ourselves won't be such a painful process.
Very true. There's do you know the phrase Alhamdulillah, which means all praise to God? I think even Christians might have said it in the past. So Muslims like keep saying that, so they don't feel it's all about them. Like if they do something, if they're successful in some ways, they're like Alhamdulillah. If you know what I mean. So
All thanks be to God rather than
yeah,
myself.
yes. So they're kind of detached. I think you made a really good point there. Yeah, you don't feel it's all about you. Nothing's about you really. Like you're serving people. If something good happens through you, you're just serving people. It's not about you, sort of thing. So that makes things really easy for you to adapt and also do a lot of things that are difficult because it's not about you in the first place as well, you know. So who's this? Teddy. Hey, Teddy.
Hello. Hi, Rush.
I think she's left the room or
Rashma,
something.
you're okay. She let me on. She's on mute. Yeah, she invited me over earlier, and I've just been so busy. But I've just come in, and I'm an atheist, so I thought I'd
Happy St.
jump on.
George's Day,
I'm really
Teddy.
pleased that you're here.
Thank
because
you.
yeah. And I can see the St. George cross all over your avatar's face. So I guess you're white and Brit.
Yes,
And that's good.
yeah.
Because
I'm English. Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
but
hi, Vin.
hello,
Hi,
my love. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
late. I had all that stuff out.
Okay. It's all right. Don't say. I'm in the background.
But I have a bit of a mixture of Irish and Scottish as well. But yeah, I was born here. Some people probably say that I can't call myself English, but yeah, it is what it is.
Because I'm going to be going, so can I ask you one or two quick questions? Like, are you a Londoner by any chance?
No. My parents were, grandparents were Irish and Scottish. But no, I'm not.
Where do you live now? Because there's so many Irish, Scottish people all over London as well.
Yeah, unfortunately on here, and Rashma will tell you that you can't give out your location because there's lots of weird people trying to find out who you are and where you live.
There's so many millions of people in London.
Sorry. Before I start the conversation, who's on the panel? Can you speak, please?
Who's in the panel? So Vincent, you know Vincent?
No, I don't know Vincent. Sorry.
Vincent's another friend of Claire.
Hello.
Hello, no worries.
Hello.
Hello.
Wanted to say that just because you're atheist doesn't mean you worship. Look, Muslims and Jews and Christians they apply words to everything. Like, okay, Claire does this. Everything is idolatry. Like, idolatry is a very specific term that's used for a very specific offense against God. It's not everything is idolatry. Clapping very loudly for your favorite song is not idolatry. And holding
I never said that.
Well, I know, but
well,
people
I agree. It is idolatry.
Say that if you're really into a rock star, it's idolatry, but that's not actual idolatry. And also, to hold an opinion without believing it came from God is not worshiping. That word worship has a meaning, and you can't just go and stretch that meaning to anything you want to do. You could say, well, Vincent spends a lot of time online, so he's worshiping his computer. I'm not worshiping my computer.
But it's a very useful way to think of things. Like if you're obsessing
but these
about
are specific
things,
words. Idolatry means you believe God is many, or you believe God takes imminent shape. It doesn't mean that you go to
if you idolize a pop star, okay, that is a really unhealthy way to live.
It's not on
and it's a useful thing to consider yourself an idolater in that sense. So you stop it. It's just a way. It's a good way of categorizing things. So you stop doing dumb stuff.
Okay, but to what extent are you allowed to have a favorite sports team before it's idolatry? Like, can you only go every other Sunday? What if you go every Sunday? What if you go every Sunday to the football game? Are you an idolater?
To the extent that you're not obsessed by it, so you're focused on things that actually matter in your life. So this is something in Islam. It's not that other people judge you; it's you judge yourself, and you judge your heart. So you stop yourself from doing harmful things. So it's not about judgment by other people. It's like you're self-judging to help yourself before you do. Like people who waste all their money going to football matches when they could be doing something better with their lives. Go to a football match every now and then, but don't waste all your money and do other things better with you.
But then who's to decide when it becomes idolatry? And
that's why you can't have other people judging, because it's too hard to judge. You have to judge yourself. Like, are you overly obsessed? Are you do you feel controlled by the need to go to a football match or whatever it is?
Okay,
anyway, I better go. Nice catching all of you, talking to you, and interesting to look at all the chat as well. Thank you for allowing me to be in live stream. What's your name? Alone? I can't remember. That's not her.
Yeah, it's
It's
Rushmore.
Rushmore. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I've got to teach a lesson now. I'm an online teacher, so I'll catch you
Yes,
guys.
you're welcome, Khalid.
Nice to
Anytime
meet you.
come.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Teddy, as well. Bye. Bye. Bye, Vincent. Bye, Claire. Bye. Bye.
Hi.
Bye-bye.
Whose stream is this?
No, it's my
Rushmore.
stream. Yeah.
Alone? It's Alone stream?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my stream.